What's going on, everybody? Rachel West, and I'm joined by Rays beat reporter Mark Topkin, who's joining us from the stadium down in Miami. The Rays are getting ready to open up their season against them in a couple hours. Mark, it's been too long since we've talked and done one of these. I'm glad it's finally baseball season and we're getting to do this.
I was just saying today how I've missed talking to you, Rachel. That was clearly the number one thing on my list.
I'm sure it was. It's everyone's highlight to their day, obviously. But anyways, we'll get right into it. The Rays obviously had a great season last year, lots of accomplishments. They proved a lot to a lot of people, I think. And because they had all those accomplishments and did all those things, do you think going into this season they're going to have any sort of playoff hangover or anything like that? Or do you think because they came so close to that ultimate goal last year that they're just hungrier than ever?
I think that's a really good question. And that's kind of what I wrote about in today's Tampa Bay Times and kind of advancing the season is some guys say, yeah, they are like it was gnawing at them that they got that close to winning the World Series and lost. And other guys say, no, you didn't win. You got to move on and kind of go from there. So I think that's a balance they have to straddle, and also, not getting complacent, not getting kind of full of themselves, not just thinking, hey, we were good last year, so we're going to be good this year. I mean, it's a different bunch of challenges. It's mostly the same roster, but some changes. So I think that's a very valid point, and it's nothing that you kind of don't know. You don't see it one day and say, oh, there it is. But I think it's something to watch early in the season.
And you touched on it's a little bit of a different look to this team. They obviously had two huge losses in Charlie Morton and Blake Snell, and pitching has always been a key part to their success. So how do you think they're going to be able to overcome those losses? And do you think the veterans that they've brought in to replace them in the rotation will make up for those losses?
Yeah, I think the answer you start with is saying you can't replace Blake Snell or Charlie Morton. They're two, arguably of the better, or if not among the best starting pitchers in the game. But the Rays kind of went for the team effort here. They signed 3 starters, veteran guys, Rich Hill, Chris Archer, Michael Wacha. They signed Colin McHugh, who's a veteran who's going to be able to pitch multiple innings out of the bullpen, almost like a backup starter. So I think they kind of are going to go for the group effort. And then they've got the young guys all down at the alternate campsite eventually at Durham that a lot of teams would consider a good enough rotation right there. So I think you're going to see them start with the older guys, and then as they need them, if those guys get hurt, I think bring up the younger guys.
And now injuries are always a huge part of the game. Every team goes through them. But the Rays are already facing a couple right off the bat, and a couple key guys too. Nick Anderson and Ji-Man Choi will be out to start the season. So how does that affect their plans going into the start of the year here?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ji-Man Choi, he'll be out a month. It looks like maybe 5 weeks. Yeah, I think they feel pretty good as they sit here getting ready to open the season that Yoshi Tsutsugo is going to fill in, play a lot of first base as a left-handed hitter against right-handed pitchers. Yandy Diaz and Mike Brasso as they were gonna. Now, Nick Anderson's a little tougher. I mean, they go with a group approach, 3 kind of closers. They don't give anyone the title, but, Nick Anderson did the heaviest lifting. And now with him gone, there's going to be more of a burden, more pressure on Diego Castillo and Pete Fairbanks and some other guys to step up. I think if you were going to pick the key guy in that bullpen, it was Nick Anderson.
Now to switch gears a little bit to the health side of things with all the COVID protocols going on, and now with MLB coming out saying once teams are 85% vaccinated, then restrictions will start loosening up. So how are the Rays handling that situation? And do you think we're going to see them be hitting that 85% mark anytime soon?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say. I mean, I do think I've talked to probably half a dozen or maybe even 8 or 9 players about it. And I think most players think that most players are going to get it. 85% is from the whole traveling party. It's about 70 people overall. So I'm not really good at math, but I think you need about 55, 56 people to get it, to reach that plateau. And it's been really incentivized strongly by baseball and the players union. They get to take a lot of the restrictions away. No mask. They can eat in restaurants. They can have guests stay with them at the team hotel. They can, of all most important things, play video games together in the clubhouse. So there's a lot of things that the players will be welcome to get back to once they meet that standard. So I think there'll be a lot of internal conversation for them to get there.
I think I speak for everyone when I say we are ready to be back to normal and for all of this to just be a distant memory. So Mark, thanks for taking the time and all the great insight as always. We'll see how the Rays do a little later on today. Guys, make sure you're following along with him during the game, as well as Sports by Tampa Bay Times. And be sure, as always, that you're checking out tampabay.com for your latest Rays coverage.